Every single morning, millions of men over the age of 50 wake up, look down, and quietly accept a heartbreaking reality. The morning stiffness, that undeniable biological signal of a man's youth, vitality, and power, is completely gone. And you sit there on the edge of the bed, the house is quiet, and you are quietly wondering, is this it? Am I just past my prime? Is my manhood simply packing up and retiring because of my age? If you have been asking yourself those exact questions, or if you have been avoiding your partner at night because the sheer embarrassment of not performing, or losing your erection halfway through is just too heavy to bear, I need you to stop whatever you are doing and listen to me very carefully right now. What I am about to tell you over the next few minutes will completely shatter everything the billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry wants you to believe about your aging body. Your disappearing morning wood, your softer erections, your fading stamina, and that frustrating lack of arousal, they are not caused by your age. They are not a personal failure. They are not a sign that you are less of a man. And for the vast majority of men watching this video right now, they aren't even caused by low testosterone. You are not broken. You are simply blocked. You are suffering from a silent, microscopic restriction in your pelvic blood vessels. It is exactly like trying to force water through a garden hose that has been tightly kinked and filled with thick mud. The desire in your brain is there. The blood pressure is there. But the pipes physically cannot expand to let the blood flow in. My name is Dr. Mei Anderson. I am a board-certified urologist, and for over 20 years, my entire career has been dedicated to specializing in senior men's sexual health. I have sat across a desk from thousands of men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and even well into their 80s who honestly thought their sex lives were permanently over. They came to me defeated, ashamed, and tired of taking expensive blue pills that gave them pounding headaches, flushed skin, and eventually stopped working altogether. But today, I am going to show you a different way. I am going to show you how a single, simple teaspoon of a highly specific mixture, taken right before you go to sleep, can actively dissolve that vascular mud, clear out your pelvic arteries, and force oxygen-rich blood back into your manhood. And we are not just going to look at one magic ingredient or some overpriced supplement. I am going to walk you through a highly specific 6-part synergistic stack. This is a bedtime tonic you can mix right in your own kitchen for pennies, and it is scientifically designed to multiply your pelvic blood flow by up to 300% while you are unconscious. But before I reveal the very first ingredient in this powerful nighttime protocol, I need a quick favor from you. If you have felt your morning energy slipping away, or if you have noticed that things just aren't as firm, as full, or as dependable as they used to be, I want you to scroll down to the comments right now and simply type the number 1. You do not have to share your life story. You don't have to explain yourself. Just type the number 1. It lets me know that I am speaking to the right men, and it triggers the algorithm to push this vital, shame-free medical information to other brothers out there around the world who are suffering in total silence. And while you are down there, please hit the subscribe button for Vital Health Seniors, because we are dropping real, evidence-based, science-backed solutions for your vitality every single week. Have you done that? Good. Let's get to work and fix your plumbing. To truly understand why this nighttime teaspoon works so incredibly well, and why it can bring back morning wood even at 75 years old, you have to understand the invisible villain that has been slowly stealing your manhood for the last decade or more. When you were 18 or 25 years old, getting an erection was effortless. A passing thought, a visual cue, a slight breeze, and your body responded instantly with rock-hard firmness. Have you ever wondered why that happened so easily back then? It was because your blood vessels were pristine, flexible, and your body was absolutely flooded with a miracle molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas produced by the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, which is called the endothelium. When your brain registers sexual desire, it sends a rapid signal down your nervous system to your pelvic region. In a healthy young man, that signal triggers the endothelium to instantly release a massive wave of nitric oxide. This gas tells the smooth muscle cells surrounding your blood vessels to relax, open wide, and let the heavy rush of blood flow directly into the spongy tissue of your penis. But as we age, two devastating things happen to this perfect system. First, our natural production of nitric oxide falls off an absolute cliff. The endothelial cells become sluggish and damaged. By the time you reach the age of 60, your body is producing about 75% less nitric oxide than it did in your 20s. You are operating on a quarter of a tank of the exact gas required to give you an erection. Second, and perhaps even more importantly, your blood vessels undergo a progressive disease process called atherosclerosis. Years of minor systemic inflammation, eating modern diets full of processed oils, chronic stress, and high blood sugar cause oxidized LDL cholesterol and calcium to stick directly to the walls of your pelvic arteries. These specific arteries are incredibly tiny. They are thinner than a strand of human hair. Because they are so small, it does not take a lot of plaque to completely choke off the blood supply to your penis. When those tiny, delicate vessels get stiff, calcified, and clogged, it completely changes the game. It does not matter how much sexual desire you have for your partner. It does not matter how high your testosterone levels are. Your brain can scream at your body to get hard, but your body physically cannot push the heavy volume of blood required into the spongy tissue of your manhood to make it firm and keep it full. This mechanical failure is exactly why the famous little blue pills eventually stop working for so many older men. Those pharmaceutical pills are designed to try and force the blood vessels open chemically. But if the blood vessels are physically hardened with calcified plaque, and the endothelium is so damaged that it is starved of nitric oxide, the pill has absolutely nothing to work with. You cannot expand a steel pipe, and that is what your arteries have become. But here is the incredible, hopeful news that the medical establishment rarely discusses with aging men. The human body is a miraculous, self-healing machine. It is designed to repair itself, and it performs its deepest, most profound vascular repair work while you are sleeping. During the night, when you enter deep sleep, your blood pressure naturally drops. Your body shifts out of the stress sympathetic nervous system and enters a deep parasympathetic state. This overnight window is the exact time when your endothelial cells try their hardest to regenerate, heal inflammation, and clean out arterial plaque. If we can provide your body with the exact biological tools it needs right before you close your eyes, we can literally hijack and supercharge this overnight repair process. We can clear the rust out of the pipes while you sleep. This brings us to the very foundation of our nightly teaspoon. It is an ingredient so common, so mundane, that you probably have a bottle of it sitting in your pantry right now. But you have been using it entirely wrong. The base of our nighttime tonic is high-quality, cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. Now before you roll your eyes and think, Dr. Mei, I cook with olive oil all the time, I put it on my salads, and it hasn't done a single thing for my erections. I need you to understand the massive difference between using fat for cooking and using it as a highly targeted, pharmacological carrier vehicle. Extra virgin olive oil contains a powerful polyphenol called oleuropein. This specific compound has been clinically shown to directly stimulate the production of nitric oxide in your endothelial cells. But more importantly for our formula, olive oil is primarily composed of oleic acid. Oleic acid is one of the greatest natural biological solvents on planet Earth. It acts as a cellular taxicab. You see, many of the most powerful natural compounds for vascular health, plaque removal, and hormone regulation are fat-soluble. This means that if you consume them with just a glass of water, your digestive system and your liver will aggressively break them down and destroy them before they ever have a chance to reach your bloodstream or your pelvis. But if you mix these powerful compounds directly into olive oil, the fat encapsulates them. It protects them from your harsh stomach acid and carries them directly through your intestinal wall, bypassing the liver's immediate destruction and delivering them straight into your systemic blood flow. So, our protocol begins by pouring exactly 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil into a small bowl. This is our protective base. Into this oil, we are going to mix our first powerful amplifier, which is raw, unprocessed cacao powder. I want you to immediately forget about chocolate bars, candy, or hot cocoa. Those are loaded with sugar and dairy that destroy all health benefits. Raw, dark, bitter cacao powder is one of the most heavily studied plant foods in cardiovascular and urological research. It contains an incredibly dense concentration of a compound called epicatechin. Epicatechin does something truly miraculous for aging men. As I mentioned earlier, getting an erection is about opening the blood vessels. But keeping the erection, maintaining that rock-hard fullness without going soft, is about stopping the body from closing those vessels too soon. Your body produces an enzyme called PDE5. This enzyme is the ultimate enemy of your erections. Its entire biological purpose is to actively destroy the chemical messenger that tells your blood vessels to stay wide open. The expensive blue pills your doctor prescribes work by artificially inhibiting this exact PDE5 enzyme. But raw cacao acts as a natural, plant-based PDE5 inhibitor. By stirring just half a teaspoon of raw cacao powder into your olive oil, you are giving your body a natural command to stop breaking down your erection signals while you sleep. Think about the synergy we are creating here. When you combine the oleuropein from the olive oil, which stimulates your body to produce more nitric oxide, with the epicatechin from the raw cacao, which traps that nitric oxide and prevents the blood vessels from closing, you have just created a massive multiplicative effect. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 here, it equals 10. You are pressing down the accelerator and completely cutting the brakes at the exact same time. But we are just getting started. If we want to truly clear out years of arterial blockages and guarantee morning wood, we need to bring in the heavy artillery. To make this mixture work even harder, we need to flood your bloodstream with the exact raw materials your body requires to build massive, youthful amounts of nitric oxide. Most men who try to naturally boost their erections think they should go to a supplement store and buy L-arginine capsules. That is a huge, very common mistake. When you swallow an L-arginine pill, your liver and intestines aggressively filter it out through an enzyme called arginase. Very little of it actually makes it to your pelvic region to do any good. Instead, our third crucial ingredient is L-citrulline, specifically in a pure, unflavored powder form. L-citrulline is a brilliant biological workaround. When you consume L-citrulline, it completely bypasses the liver's destructive filters. It travels straight through your bloodstream to your kidneys. Your kidneys then act as a slow drip factory, effortlessly converting that citrulline into pure, highly usable arginine directly inside the bloodstream, right where you need it. By taking a 1/4 teaspoon of pure L-citrulline powder and mixing it directly into your olive oil and cacao paste, you are providing the ultimate fuel source. While you sleep, this steady conversion process ensures that your pelvic blood vessels stay dilated for hours on end, deeply oxygenating the penile tissue. This deep, continuous overnight oxygenation is absolutely critical. It prevents the smooth muscle tissue of the penis from shrinking and atrophying, and it is the exact mechanism that brings back that firm morning stiffness you have been missing for years. Now we have the pipes expanding. We have the nitric oxide trapped and working. But what about the physical plaque? What about the actual rust that has built up inside the garden hose over the last 30 years? That is where ingredient number 4 comes in, and it is an absolute game changer. It is cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil. Listen to me very carefully on this point. I am not talking about drinking sugary pomegranate juice from the grocery store. I am talking about the highly concentrated, pure oil pressed directly from the seeds of the fruit. Pomegranate seed oil contains an exceedingly rare fatty acid, known as punicic acid. Punicic acid is an absolute marvel of nature. When it enters your bloodstream, it interacts with an enzyme produced by your liver called paraoxinase 1. This specific enzyme's entire job is to stop your LDL cholesterol from oxidizing, hardening, and sticking to your delicate artery walls. When you add just 5 drops of pure pomegranate seed oil to your nighttime teaspoon, you are providing your cardiovascular system with a powerful lipid protection mechanism. During the exact overnight window when your body is trying to repair your pelvic arteries, the punicic acid acts like a microscopic scrubbing brush. It helps to halt the progression of arterial plaque, reduces localized inflammation in the blood vessels, and supports the clearing of the pathways. It is literally scrubbing the walls of your vascular system clean while you are completely unconscious in your bed. At this point in our recipe, we have built the ultimate vascular repair tool. We are opening the pipes, flooding them with fuel, keeping them open, and scrubbing the walls. But if we want to ensure that you wake up with undeniable morning wood, and if we want to restore your actual libido and drive, we have to address the brain and the hormonal system. Getting the plumbing to work is only half the battle. The engine has to want to run. Ingredient number 5 targets this exactly. It is ashwagandha root powder. Think about your daily life. Have you ever laid in bed at night, feeling physically exhausted, but your mind is racing? You are thinking about bills, about your health, about your family, about work. That mental spinning is the feeling of elevated cortisol. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone, and it is the absolute death of testosterone and healthy erections. The biology here is undeniable. Cortisol and testosterone share the same precursor hormones. When your body is forced to produce high levels of cortisol because you are stressed, it steals the raw materials needed to make testosterone. Furthermore, high cortisol keeps your body locked in a sympathetic fight-or-flight state. If your cortisol is high at night, your blood vessels violently constrict to prepare for danger, and your body completely refuses to produce testosterone or engage in sexual functions. You cannot fight a tiger and have an erection at the same time. Ashwagandha is a powerful adaptogenic herb that has been clinically proven in numerous double-blind studies to significantly lower serum cortisol levels. By stirring just a tiny pinch, about 1/8 teaspoon, of high-quality ashwagandha root powder into your fat-based olive oil teaspoon, you are telling your brain to turn off the alarm system. You actively crash your cortisol levels while you sleep. When cortisol drops, your blood vessels are finally allowed to relax, and your body enters a deep, profoundly restorative sleep phase where the testicles can finally pump out free, unbound testosterone. And finally, we reach ingredient number 6. This is the igniter. This is what brings the passion back. It is gelatinized black maca root. Cultivated high in the extreme altitudes of the Andes Mountains, black maca has been revered for centuries by indigenous populations specifically to restore male stamina, fertility, and intense sexual desire. Unlike synthetic pharmaceutical drugs that force blood flow mechanically, while leaving you feeling emotionally numb or disconnected, black maca works on a completely different level. It communicates directly with your hypothalamus and pituitary gland in the brain. It helps to restore the natural, youthful hormonal rhythm that drives spontaneous arousal. It doesn't just make the physical equipment work. It makes you actually want to use the equipment. It brings back the hunger, the drive, the masculine energy that makes intimacy exciting again. By adding a small pinch of gelatinized black maca to this mixture, you are completing the biological circuit. I want you to really think about the masterpiece of natural synergy we have just built here. First, the extra virgin olive oil acts as the perfect delivery vehicle, carrying the nutrients past the liver while simultaneously stimulating nitric oxide production. Second, the raw cacao acts as the trapper, inhibiting the PDE5 enzyme, so the blood vessels stay locked open. Third, the L-citrulline provides the heavy, continuous fuel to maximize the expansion of those vessels all night long. Fourth, the pomegranate seed oil acts as the scrubber, utilizing punicic acid to halt plaque oxidation and clean the arterial walls. Fifth, the ashwagandha acts as the stress killer, crashing your cortisol levels so your body can shift into repair mode and produce testosterone. And sixth, the black maca acts as the igniter, reigniting your actual sex drive and desire from the brain down. So, how do you actually make this incredibly powerful tonic? It is incredibly simple, and once you get the hang of it, it takes less than 60 seconds of your evening. You take a small bowl or a ramekin. You pour in exactly 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil. To that oil, you add half a teaspoon of raw cacao powder. Next, you add a 1/4 teaspoon of pure L-citrulline powder. Then, carefully drop in exactly 5 drops of pomegranate seed oil. Follow that with a tiny pinch, roughly 1/8 teaspoon, of ashwagandha root powder. And finally, add a tiny pinch of gelatinized black maca. You take a small spoon and you stir it together vigorously. Because of the olive oil, it will form a dark, rich, slightly bitter paste. You take exactly 1 teaspoon of this paste, place it on your tongue, swallow it, and wash it down with a small sip of room temperature water. You do this exactly 30 minutes before you lay down to go to sleep. I know this sounds like a lot of dense medical science and biological pathways. But let me step away from the clinical data for a moment and tell you what this actually looks like in real, everyday life. About 7 months ago, a patient named Arthur came into my urology clinic. Arthur is 71 years old. He is a retired architect, a proud man, and has been married to his lovely wife for over 40 years. He sat heavily in the chair across from my desk, looked down at his hands, and with a voice that was barely above a whisper, he said, "Dr. May, I feel like a ghost in my own marriage. I haven't had a spontaneous morning erection in over 4 years. I tried the pills from my general doctor, but they make my heart race dangerously fast, they give me blinding migraines, and half the time, they don't even work anymore. I love my wife deeply, but I've started going to bed early or staying up late just to avoid the rejection and the shame. I just don't feel like a man anymore." Arthur's story absolutely breaks my heart, because I hear variations of it every single day. Men suffering in silence, thinking their masculinity has an expiration date. I looked Arthur in the eye and I told him exactly what I am telling you today. You are not broken. You are not past your expiration date. Your pipes are just restricted, and your hormones are stressed. I wrote down the exact recipe for this 6-part nighttime teaspoon protocol and told him to follow it religiously every single night. Here is exactly what happened to Arthur, week by week. For the first 4 days, Arthur reported that he didn't notice much of a difference in his erections. But he eagerly noted that he was sleeping deeper than he had in a decade. He wasn't waking up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind. He woke up feeling rested, and he noticed that his hands and feet, which were usually cold, felt warm in the mornings. This was the ashwagandha lowering his cortisol, and the initial stages of the olive oil and citrulline starting to improve his peripheral microcirculation. On day 10, Arthur called my office, and his voice was shaking with excitement. He said, "Dr. May, I woke up today, and for the first time in 48 months, there was life down there. It wasn't 100% rock hard, but there was a distinct pulse. There was a fullness that I haven't felt since I was in my 50s. This was the profound synergy of the citrulline, and the cacao finally reaching critical mass in his endothelial cells, keeping the nitric oxide trapped and working inside his pelvic vessels." By day 30, Arthur came back into the clinic for his follow-up appointment. The transformation in his entire demeanor was staggering. He wasn't looking at his hands anymore. He was standing taller. His shoulders were pulled back. He looked me square in the eye with a totally different, vibrant energy. He told me that not only was his morning wood returning with shocking, daily consistency, but his overall stamina, his mood, and his confidence had completely transformed his intimacy with his wife. He looked at me, smiled, and said, "I feel like I got a piece of my soul back." Arthur didn't need a dangerous prescription. He didn't need invasive therapies or painful injections. He just needed to clear the rust out of his pipes, calm his stress response, and give his biology the exact nutritional tools it desperately needed to heal itself while he slept. Now, before you rush to your kitchen tonight to mix this up, you absolutely must listen to this next part. Because 90% of men who try to implement natural protocols like this end up making one of 3 fatal mistakes. These mistakes will completely destroy the delicate active compounds in the mixture, turning your powerful vascular tonic into useless, ineffective sludge. Fatal mistake number 1. Microwaving or heating the mixture to make it blend easier. Because the powders can make the olive oil a bit thick, some men try to warm up the oil in the microwave or on the stove so the powders dissolve faster. Do not ever do this. Heat instantly destroys the fragile epicatechin in the raw cacao, and it violently oxidizes the delicate, rare fatty acids in the pomegranate seed oil. If you apply heat, you are killing the medicine. You must mix these ingredients at room temperature only. It might take an extra 20 seconds of vigorous stirring, but it is entirely worth it. Fatal mistake number 2. Using a chemical mouthwash right after taking the mixture. Remember earlier when I explained that the magic happens in the chemical conversions in your body? Well, a massive part of the nitric oxide cycle depends on the friendly, commensal bacteria that naturally live on the back of your tongue. These bacteria help convert dietary nitrates into nitrites, which eventually become nitric oxide. If you swallow this mixture and then immediately scorch your mouth with a harsh, alcohol-based antibacterial mouthwash before getting into bed, you completely annihilate the friendly bacteria that make this entire vascular process work. Brush your teeth normally, floss, but absolutely skip the harsh chemical rinses at night. Fatal mistake number 3. Taking the mixture with a glass of milk or eating dairy right before bed. Some men like to have a glass of warm milk or a bowl of yogurt before sleep. If you do this alongside our protocol, you will ruin the effects. Dairy contains a protein called casein. Casein aggressively binds to polyphenol and antioxidants, specifically the ones found in the olive oil and the raw cacao, severely blocking their absorption through the intestinal wall. If you wash this teaspoon down with milk, your body will absorb less than half of the active flow-boosting ingredients. You must wash it down with a small glass of plain, room-temperature water instead. Gentlemen, getting older is a biological fact of life, but losing your manhood, your vitality, and your confidence is absolutely optional. You have been conditioned by a modern society and a profit-driven medical system that wants you dependent on expensive, symptom-masking prescriptions. They want you to believe that fading away is just a normal part of aging, while they entirely ignore the root causes of your decline: restricted blood flow, rampant inflammation, and chronic stress. I am telling you, as a doctor who has seen this thousands of times, your body is an incredibly resilient, intelligent machine. The spongy tissue of your penis, the intricate, microscopic web of your pelvic arteries, the delicate and powerful balance of your hormones, they are all still inside you. They are not gone. They are just waiting for you to clear the blockages, remove the stress, and turn the power back on. I want you to start this protocol tonight. Gather your high-quality extra virgin olive oil, your raw cacao, your pure L-citrulline, your cold-pressed pomegranate seed oil, your ashwagandha, and your black maca. Bind them together into that dark paste. Swallow it. Drink your water. And simply let your body's incredible innate intelligence do the rest of the heavy lifting while you sleep peacefully. If this video opened your eyes today, if it resonated with that quiet part of you that has been looking for answers, and if it gave you genuine hope that your absolute best years in the bedroom are absolutely not behind you, please do not keep this information to yourself. Hit the share button below and send this video to a brother, a friend, or a colleague who might be suffering in silence and needs to hear this message. Make sure you hit the like button right now so the YouTube algorithm knows this is important, life-changing, real medical information that deserves to be seen by more men. Hit the subscribe button for Vital Health Seniors and turn on your notification bell so you never miss a breakthrough that could change your health. I am Dr. Mei Anderson. It has been an honor speaking with you today. Take back your vitality tonight. Do not settle for less than you deserve, and I will see you in the next video.